So, from watching discussions on the forum, I've noticed that a lot of people fall into these supposed two different camps when it comes to spiritual teachings. Either they don't want to kill the Buddha and they have like this ideal of somebody and they're really wowed by this particular example of a teacher, or they're very skeptical and they're kind of wanting to shoot the messenger. And rather than seeing the message for itself, they're sort of fixated on the messenger and the messenger not being worthy enough of saying the message, or really they're disregarding the message and using the messenger's credibility as the excuse for that. So we often lazily want to trust certain things. We want to trust certain ideas. We want to have beliefs. We want to know how things are going. We want to trust certain people and distrust other people. And none of this ends up actually working or actually being fulfilling, because if we would have the guts or the faith to align with awareness, the utter razor's edge of now, seeing this tree in front of me and saying tree and thinking that I know what it is, it's a tree, utterly cuts it off from the magic, wonder, aliveness, and just the pure knowing that there's a tree in front of me. Now, if a storm came up and broke this tree and I was watching this tree, I would immediately know what to do. And so all of our instincts, all of our true protection is in that utter awareness. And we often say something like, I can't believe my eyes if something happens, and we're having a hard time thinking about or conceptualizing what happened after the fact. And this just points again to awareness is all there is. So aligning with this, we realize that we can't actually trust in things. We're we're totally like at the ready for whatever happens. We have no idea what's happening. Like, again, if you hear a strange bird out in the woods and you just stop and listen without any idea, that complete openness, that's what we are. And when I first heard Eckhart Tolle speak and saw him on a screen, I've said this example before, I had this horrible reaction where I was disgusted by it. And then later on ended up listening to hours of him, and The Power of Now was, reading that is what I remember as a big turning point. Often when we have a big reaction against something, there's something in it. And that's not to say that it isn't a very flawed teacher or very flawed teaching. It very well might be. I mean, this is a really exciting landscape that the author has written us into. And it's the most fascinating place there could be. I could talk about the present moment as it's utterly intimate. There's nothing happening whatsoever. There's nothing unknown, nothing secret, nothing cut off about it. It's mundane. It's utterly, completely mundane. Or I could say that it's the most fantastic, indescribable. It's impossible. It's impossibly beautiful. It's terrible in the way that a lion roaring is terrible, and yet it sets you alight with life. I could say any of those things and it would be true, and it almost seems like I'm marrying opposites together when I'm describing this. And so everybody in every aspect of life is this way. And when we want to know what it is, we want to know if this teacher is credible and this one isn't, we cut ourselves off from that. And that is exactly what it is. Every teacher is connecting you with this utter aliveness, this utter presence. Don't settle for any sort of trying to trust, trying to separate into camps, because it's all you. We don't know how things are going to turn out, even if we attract even if we attract getting caught up in a cult. That experience is going to be completely worth it. And having that mindset is exactly what's going to keep you from that happening, because you're focused on what you want. You are conscious that everything is happening for expansion, and yet it doesn't even have to be that. If the Earth gets hit by an asteroid and this is all whatever, nothing is lost. And we utterly have the freedom to throw away whatever we want to. Being raised in a religion and then saying, nope, that was wrong, is a pretty big deal, and yet the most freeing thing. And what you realize is that when you let go of something, it's all you. It never departs from you. And what comes back, what's revealed, words can't express. It's so utterly worth it. Letting go of everything you think you know. It's so utterly worth it, because what you truly are is worth itself. We have these ideas. We have this sort of fear of being swindled, of being duped, because we like to know that we know. And this insults our idea of it as very intelligence itself. We are always the ones doing the covering up. We're always the ones duping ourselves. And the empowerment in realizing that. I was raised that, like, I don't know if it was explicitly said, but raised with the feeling that I had to be weary around men, and I had to be weary around people. And what that did is it just made me look for people I couldn't trust. And it made me avoid people and made me feel cut off from people. And it completely did me a disservice, whereas if I had been told that I inherently know that everything I need to know will be revealed to me, and that whenever I feel like someone has tricked me, or someone has lied to me, or someone has kept something from me and I feel stupid, the guidance is the only knowing that really was that moment that's telling me that my focus on that is actually veiling what I truly am. It's so utterly direct. Feeling is telling us, when we feel bad, it's saying, that's not what I am. And when we take the thought, that's not what I am, that's not who I am, that's not how I am, over the feeling, and we refuse to be somebody who allows ourselves to enjoy the moment, allows ourselves joy, allows ourselves to dream, allows ourselves to want things that we have inherently always wanted, to want the relationships that we have never thought were possible, the conversations we never thought were possible, the synchronicity, the love, the feeling of love, the feeling of empowerment. When we let ourselves focus on those things, everything we need to know comes to us. And when you invite in intuition, you put out some silly sort of request to find something, some kind of fruit tree, and an impulse leads you right there, and you realize you knew the entire time, and yet you had no idea whatsoever. A sense of mystery is kind of what we all want. Mystery, joy, wonder, intrigue. Mystery is built on not knowing, and yet it has a kind of intelligence within it that's not explicit.